What's up, everybody, and welcome back. We are week 8. Before we jump into the predictions, I just have to bring up that I think we're lucky for MLS fans that we are that we only had to pay a maximum $99.99 for the MLS Season Pass with all the great content, because we have brought it up and we've compared it to, NBA, NFL, and it has been rumored, and I think that it might even be true. They did. YouTube announced their prices for the NFL Sunday ticket. If you are a non-YouTube subscriber, if you just want the season, it's $449. If you want it with the red zone, it's $489. Now, there is early bird specials for $389 and $349. If you are a YouTube TV subscriber, so I think that is already like $60 or $70 a month, I believe, you have to pay on top of that. And you have to pay $349 for the season, $389 with red zone. If you sign up early, it's $249 and $289. I don't know what all that entails. I don't know if they have things like the content that we get for MLS, but $100, that is a lot better deal than that. There's more games that you get to see, less games in NFL. So I think that I'll stop ranting about this because I feel like I'm going on and on about it. But MLS Season Pass was worth it and is a deal for $100 in my opinion. And this right here, for me, has confirmed it. I'm very glad that it was only $100 for most people. I already had Apple TV, so it was, I think, $79.99. But still, it's a better price than this NFL package. So I think we are lucky as MLS fans that we only had to pay $100. Hopefully that does not change going forward for next season, but I think this season it was a good deal with all the stuff that we do get involved, like we get with it, because like we didn't have to pay extra for MLS 360. I mean, MLS 360 is what red zone is to the NFL. So anyways, let's stop talking about that. Let's get into week 8 predictions, and we start off with Montreal versus DC United. This is a 13 against 15 matchup. DC United is 13th currently, and Montreal are 15th. Last week they both lost. Well, their last match they both lost. Montreal lost 4-0 to the Rebs on the road, and DC United lost at home against Columbus Crew 2-0. I don't know what to say about this one. Both of these teams not doing all that great in my opinion, but I think that Montreal will get it done at home. They have been getting a beating the last 2 matches because they did lose against the Whitecaps 5-0 on the road, but they're home this week playing against a not so good DC United. So I think that they win this matchup 1-0 there in Montreal. So next up we have Charlotte FC versus Colorado Rapids. Currently Charlotte is sitting 14th in the East. Colorado are sitting 11th in the West. Charlotte lost last week against Real Salt Lake 3-1. I really thought that Charlotte would go in and have a better showing than that. I think I wanted that game to end in a draw, but then Charlotte just kind of crapped the bed at the end of the match. And then Colorado, on the other hand, they did beat Sporting Kansas City on the road 1-0. I think this is going to be a pretty good matchup, but I do think that Charlotte will win at home 2-1 over the Rapids. So that takes us to a fantastic matchup. We have NYCFC versus Nashville SC. This is 5 against 7 in the West. Both playoff teams. 2 points separate these two. Last week, NYCFC drew with Atlanta United 1-1. Last week, I'm sorry. And Nashville drew with Toronto 0-0. Nashville are very inconsistent still. NYCFC, they're playing pretty well. Last 2 matches they have drawn. They did lose to Houston Dynamo on the road, but then they won before that, 2 matches before that. I think, however, that Nashville, the slump that they're in, not slump, but inconsistency, I think that they win this match. I think that they go on the road to, I think it's Citibank, not Yankee Stadium here. Let me check real quick. Yeah, Citi Field, which I can't wait for NYCFC to get their own stadium. Anyway, I think Nashville will win this match on the road 2-0 because the last time that they went on the road, they did beat an Orlando City side 2-0. I just think that Nashville, they need to get it together, and I think that they will here. NYCFC is doing a lot better than what I thought they would this season, but I think that Nashville has a better side, and I think Nashville will win this game 2-0 over NYCFC. So that leads us to New York Red Bulls versus Houston Dynamo. Red Bulls are 11th in the East, and Houston are 7th in the West. Houston has been doing pretty well. Last week, they did win 3-0 over LA Galaxy. Whole bunch of red cards happening in that match. I think there was a total of 3. Herrera is out for this game, and the Red Bulls drew last week 1-1 with the Earthquake at home. And I think that that's going to happen again here. I think Houston are doing a very good job this season, and I think with them, I think if Herrera was in for this match, it might be a little bit different, and I might have given them the edge. Yes, I know that it's just one player, but he has a big impact for him. So I think that this match ends in a 1-1 draw there at Red Bull Arena. I don't think that I can put Houston above the Red Bull, even though they are like a better team, but home field advantage does play a role. But at the same time, Red Bulls, they're not very great at home. So that's why I think this matchup ends in a 1-1 draw. So next up, we have Toronto FC versus Atlanta United. Atlanta are sitting 3rd in the East, while Toronto are sitting 9th in the East. Both of these teams, as of right now, are making the playoffs. Last week, Toronto drew with Nashville 0-0, and Atlanta drew with NYCFC 1-1. I think Atlanta had multiple opportunities to go up on NYCFC. They did get that unfortunate red card from Ibarra. It was a red. It's a hard one to just pick out, but it is a red card. I mean, it was dangerous play, but it was also dangerous play on the other side too, in my opinion. But besides the fact, I think this is going to be a good matchup, and I think that Atlanta is going to go on the road, and I might be biased here, and I will say it right up front to you all that I am here on this one. These are two very good teams, and I think that Atlanta is going to go on the road and win this matchup. I think that they win 2-1 over Toronto. If Toronto starts to get people back, I can't really say anything bad about them because they're drawing. I mean, their last 3 matches they have drawn. They're scoring some goals, not really, but I think that Atlanta has the better side, and I think they will win on the road 2-1 there in Toronto. So next up, we have another good matchup because it is 8 against 9 there in the West. It is Austin versus Vancouver Whitecaps. Last week, Austin got smashed by LAFC 3-0, and the last time that the Vancouver Whitecaps played was against LAFC, and they got beat 3-0. So, yeah, that's a wild one that they both lost to the same team the last time that they played. But it is in Austin. It's at Q2 Stadium. Austin needs to get stuff rolling. I know that they are 8th right now in the West. That's still a playoff spot, but they got to get going. Something's gotta happen, and I think it starts here. I think that they win this matchup against the Whitecaps, and I actually think that they're going to win it 3-1 there at Q2 Stadium. So I never thought that I was going to say this at all this season, but next up we have Chicago Fire versus Philadelphia Union, and Chicago Fire are 6th in the East, and Philadelphia are 10th. As of right now, Philadelphia, who went to the championship last year, has pretty much the same team, are in 10th place in the East. Yes, it is early. It is very early. But man, they got to do better than this. They've got to do better than this. Last time that these two teams played, Chicago Fire beat Minnesota United 2-1, where Philadelphia lost to a very hot FC Cincinnati team 1-0. I think that Philadelphia, they're going to win this one. Chicago, yeah, they're unbeaten in their last 4 matches. 2 draws, 2 wins. But I think Philadelphia go on the road here, and I think that they win this matchup. I think that they beat Chicago 1-0 there at Soldier Field. So staying in that Midwest, we go down south to FC Dallas versus Real Salt Lake there at Toyota Stadium. Currently, FC Dallas are 4th in the West, and Real Salt Lake are 10th. Last week, FC Dallas went on the road to beat Inter Miami 1-0, and Real Salt Lake won 3-1 over Charlotte FC. They had a very good showing against Charlotte there at home. But they are going on the road here, and I think that Dallas are too good. I just think with the way that they're playing, they won last week, drew the week before. They're 4th place in the West, and I think that that's just going to continue. And I believe that they beat Real Salt Lake. I think last week for Real Salt Lake winning 3-1 was just because they went back home, and before that they lost the previous 2 matches at home, so they kind of had a more will to win. But here on the road against FC Dallas, I think they lose 2-0 there at Toyota Stadium. So here we have another good matchup. We have Minnesota United versus Orlando City. Currently, Orlando City sit 8th in the East, whereas Minnesota sit 5th in the West. Although last week Minnesota did lose to Chicago 2-1 on the road, but Orlando also lost at home 2-0 against Nashville. I think this is going to be a tough one. I think we might see a late winner, and I think that that winner will go to the home team. I think Minnesota United will beat Orlando City 2-1 at home. But like I said, I think it's going to be a very even match, and I think that there's going to be late drama, and Minnesota went late in the game. So now we have a game that I thought that you all would have wanted to watch again, but I didn't put it on the voting because we've already seen St. Louis twice in a row. It's St. Louis City versus FC Cincinnati. It's Cincinnati 1 in the East, St. Louis number 2 in the West. St. Louis are currently on a 2-game losing streak. They've lost to the Sounders and Minnesota United, whereas FC Cincinnati are unbeaten in their last 5 matches, 4 wins and a draw. I think that this is going to be a very, very good game, and I believe that this game is going to end in a draw. I'm not jumping on the hype train, St. Louis fans. I just think that they're going to get it back together. It's the second half is killing them. We did the live stream on the last 2 matches for St. Louis, and maybe I jinxed them. Maybe because we watched them in the live stream is why they lost. I don't know. But I think that they get a draw here against a very good FC Cincinnati team in the East there at home. Really, it's the other way around. I think FC Cincinnati coming in, playing against a very good St. Louis side, and walking away with a point is very helpful for Cincinnati. But I think it's going to end in a 1-1 draw there in St. Louis. So our second to last game on Saturday, we have Portland Timbers versus Seattle Sounders. Yes, I'm repping a Portland jersey, but we all know that most likely they won't win. Seattle currently set 1st in the West, and unfortunately Portland are 12th. Still riddled with injuries. Last week they did lose to Vancouver Whitecaps on the road. Seattle won 3-0 at home against St. Louis. And I can't see Portland really competing with Seattle this weekend. And I actually think that Seattle walk into Providence Park and actually win 3-0 against Portland Timbers. So the last match on Saturday, we have the Earthquake versus Sporting Kansas City. Currently, San Jose are 6th in the West. I'm loving this. I want the Earthquakes to make the playoffs. I will say that right now. Michael, you can give me a hard time if you are watching this, and comment down below if you guys are also rooting for Earthquakes to make it into the playoffs. But I am. I hope that they make the playoffs this year. It would be very exciting to see them there. And then Sporting Kansas City, unfortunately, are sitting 14th in the West. Again, another team riddled with injuries, and hopefully that some of those injured players will come back and they will get to play soon, and things will turn around for Sporting Kansas City. San Jose walked into Red Bull Arena last week and drew with them 1-1, and then Sporting Kansas City lost at home 1-0 against Colorado Rapid. In this matchup, I think the Earthquake get it done. Not by a big margin, but I think they do have a better team than Sporting Kansas City right now, and I think that they win at home 1-0 over Sporting Kansas City. So that leads us into our only match on Sunday. We have LA Galaxy versus LAFC. I think a lot of people were looking forward to this at the beginning of the season, but I really don't see a lot of people looking forward to this matchup because of how bad LA Galaxy are. They have 2 red cards. Douglas Acosta, I don't know what he was thinking in his match. I don't know why he would do that. But LAFC currently sit 3rd in the West. Galaxy are 13 in the West. LA Galaxy, I don't believe, have won a game yet. They lost last week 3-0 against Houston Dynamo, where LAFC are unbeaten in the last 5 games, 4 wins and 1 draw. However, I don't think that LAFC win this match. But I also don't think LA Galaxy win this match. I actually believe that El Trafico ends in a draw, 2-2. So we have our final game for predictions. It is the game that you all chose for us to watch on Saturday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is Columbus Crew versus New England Revs. 2 against 4 in the East. This is going to be a fantastic match. I'm very excited for this match. Both of these teams are kind of a surprise to me this year. I thought that Columbus would be kind of where they're at right now, but maybe a little bit lower. Did not expect the Revs to be, what is that? What did I say? 2nd in the East? They're 2nd right now. I'm very surprised by both of them. That's awesome. I can't wait for this match. Last week, Columbus Crew beat DC United on the road 2-0, where the Revs killed Montreal 4-0 at home. It's going to be a good one. I think that we're going to see 5 goals in this match. And I think that Columbus Crew will win at home 3-2 over the Revs. So that is all of the predictions for this week. Tell me down in the comments below who you think is going to win and how you think I'm doing with the predictions. But thank you for watching. Give the video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you have not. And we will see you Saturday for the Columbus Crew New England Revs matchup.